Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Friday, January 25th, 2019. As a reminder, this will be the last podcast at this time, Monday through Friday. Next week, we're changing to the new schedule. Instead of starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 Eastern, we'll start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. And I'm going to maintain that schedule until I'm finished writing the book, just so that I have the daytime to write. I write better in the daytime, so I want to make sure I finish up the book on time and it's well written like the last. Before we get to today's news, which includes things such as Roger Stone's arrest, the government shutdown coming to a conclusion, at least temporarily, the Pope's response, the mass delays at the airport, before we get up to that, as well as this day in history, I want to take the time to answer this question, which is the question the majority of people have who come across this work every single day. So Janessa Loves Pink says, I just don't understand what the point is. And she's referring to encoding news propaganda with numbers. And it's a fair point. I mean, why would anyone do this? I used to ask the same question. It took years of research to finally figure out what was going on. So let's begin to answer the question. Janessa and others might very well have heard of Yale's Skull and Bones, the Masonic order, the secret society that identifies by a number, 322. George W. Bush, the last president that was known to be a member of this society, and while he was president, there was a very numerological ritual that happened under his watch. September 11th, 2001, 911, the national emergency. If you've missed my work on September 11th, you should definitely pick up my book and also search through my videos. But I was just 18 when 9/11 happened, and I knew then there must be something to numbers. And it took years and years of observing and research to figure out what was going on. So there's something in the world called Kabbalah. Kabbalah says God created the world by merging the letter with the number with the word. That's written in the Book of Formation, an important text to Kabbalah. Kabbalah is this old world mysticism, goes all the way back to Babylon, goes back to the cradle of civilization, goes back to Sumer, the land of the first written language, alphabet. Out of Babylon came Hebrew, and Hebrew is the alphabet where every letter is a number. And the Old Testament of the Bible was written in Hebrew. And in the translations of the Bible that we have today, Genesis 3:22. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. The tree of life is a reference to Kabbalah's physical model. If you're not familiar with Kabbalah's tree of life, look it up. Kabbalah has two sides. One side is about understanding how God operates, what our place is within this world, how we can spiritually ascend. And then the other half is understanding the dark side of the world, the dark side of human nature. And the dark side of the tree of life is used also to hurt people, to cast spells, magic. So anyway, Kabbalah is part of what are known as the ancient mystery religions. Things such as Kabbalah, Hermeticism, alchemy, Kundalini. These are all in the ancient mystery religions, and they're all important. Kundalini is where the number 33 gets its significance from, the 33 bones of the human vertebrae. Kundalini says spiritual ascension happens up to 33 bones of the human vertebrae. It's why Freemasonry, which is based in these ancient mystery religions, is fascinated with 33. Hermeticism has 7 principles. There's a lot to Hermeticism. The part about letters and numbers where it pertains is, in Hermeticism, one of the principles is everything in this world carries a vibration, and that vibration has real world influence over our lives. Every color, every shape, every symbol, every number, every letter. It's all these old world teachings that amount to why these practices are important to the people who use them every single day. And why they seem silly on the surface, you start to research them, you realize that there really is something here. There's a method to the madness, and there's a reason. So anyway, notice ancient mystery religions equals 322, like what Skull and Bones, the secret society, identifies by, and Abrahamic religions, which are Judaism, Christianity, Islam, which are all based in Genesis. Abrahamic religions equals 322. And again, Genesis 3:22 is this verse that pays tribute to Kabbalah and the tree of life. So this knowledge is considered occult. Occult knowledge means hidden. And for most people in mainstream society, they don't have a clue about any of this stuff. It's never been introduced to them anywhere. A lot of people, they come up inside religion, but within their religious teachings and learnings, they're told to shy away from things like this. They're just told it's evil, stay away, just believe. How many Christians think numbers are evil and they're carrying around their holy Bibles where the fourth book of the Bible is called Numbers? Again, if you learn this code, you realize that the English translations of the Bible are encoded with this knowledge. Again, this knowledge is very much biblical because the Abrahamic religions are based in these ancient mystery religions. They're just the same teachings retold in newer stories. So notice, just using the alphabetic order, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26th letter is 26. Occult equals 74. So does English, so does Gematria, so does Lucifer, so does Jewish, so does Masonic. The world elite are Luciferian. And what is the Luciferian agenda? It's to advance humanity. And what do you see going on in the world? In certain ways, humanity is being advanced. Not in all ways, that's for sure. But the Luciferian agenda, it's about free will, it's about advancement. It's not all evil. But then again, there's parts of it that are. It's just like Kabbalah's tree of life and the evil side of it. Part of it's about understanding humanity, part of it's about hurting people. Anyway, occult, English, Gematria, Lucifer, Jewish, Masonic, they're all 74, and not by accident. These are special numbers. God creates the world in 7 days. Well, he creates it in 6, and he rests on the 7th. But the point is, it's a 7-day stretch. Here we live in a world with 7-day weeks. 7, 4, numbers that have a lot in common mathematically. 7 is the fourth prime number. The divisors of 4 sum to 7. Again, God creates the world in 7 days. The fourth book of the Bible is titled Numbers. These are important numbers. Notice if you write out English language, it sums to 142. The numerology of 142 is 1 plus 4 plus 2 is 7. Notice if you write out Gematria and flip the alphabetic order around, it also sums to 142. Our entire language is based on this code, no different than Hebrew. In Hebrew, every letter is a number, and it's understood within Hebrew. Within English, most people don't have a clue. It's the best kept secret about the English language, that every word is mathematically thought out. And that's why the English language and the spellings are so nonsensical. Notice if you write out English language and flip the alphabetic order around and use the rules of numerology, what we consider our base ciphers, 4 base ciphers, English language is 74. Numerical language is 74. Hebrew also carries the value of 74. And think about what 74 is in numerology. It's 7 plus 4 is 11, the master number. The master builder number is 22. In Hebrew, there's 22 letters. All of this knowledge and understanding is about, or supposed to be in tribute to God. And again, Gematria is largely a Jewish practice. The word God when written in Judaism, is typically written G-D, because there's this belief that comes from Kabbalah that says it's disrespectful to write out God's full name. G-D is the seventh letter, the fourth letter, 7-4. People who study the Bible know that there are clear parallels between Lucifer and Jesus. They're both referred to as the morning star, for example. Why? Jesus is not the true name of Christ from the Bible. It's Yeshua. So Jesus is this, shifting of the name, and not by accident. Notice Jesus equals 74. The English translation of Jesus is Joshua, which also sums to 74. Messiah is 74. Cross is 74. Gospel, that's the story of Jesus, 74. Parables is 74. Not an accident. The gospel, for the record, is 89 chapters. 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. What's the numerology of 74? 7 plus 4, 11. Again, numerology, master number. Revelation equals 121 about the return of Jesus. Just using the alphabetic order, Revelation 121, the square root of 121 is 11. So anyhow, Luciferianism is related to Gnosticism, and Gnosticism is absolutely related to Christianity. Christians go nuts when you say this, but I don't know how they can look at what Gnosticism is and say that their religion's much different. Gnosticism essentially says that, the world is ruled over by an evil force, and to escape that force, you need Christ. For some reason, Christians go nuts when you say that, but I don't know where their argument is. I mean, it's essentially the same belief system. Plus, so many Gnostic and pagan traditions have been adopted into Christianity. Anyhow, Freemasonry, the worldwide network that is a cult that practices this study, that has the logo with the compass in the square with the capital G in the middle, instruments of geometry around the G. Gematria or Gematria means geometry in language. You listen to teachers like Mark Passio, they'll tell you that the G stands for Gnosticism. In Freemasonry, you have to believe in a creator. It doesn't matter what religion you're a part of, just as long as you believe there's a higher power. Anyway, Gnosticism has the gematria 47 like Christian. Same numbers, 4774. So anyway, the point is, all of this knowledge is in tribute to God and how God operates. And my take on it is the elite, they're using this knowledge to play God. And seemingly, it's working. I've always been puzzled by how people fall for any of the stuff that we're given every single day. The lies, the propaganda, the division, the hate, the trash entertainment, the rigged sports. But realize they encode all of it with this. And seemingly it has the masses under a spell. So this is the point of it. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more that I don't understand yet. I've been researching this for 5 years. I'm always learning more. So I imagine 5 years from now, I'll understand it even further. But no doubt, the entire code is in tribute to God. And again, I don't think it's hard to see that the people who use this, they want to play God. They want to control our minds. They want to control the way we think, what we believe, And for all the Christians out there who are offended by this, again, I'll go on the record with what I've been saying for a long time. I don't see how religion helps us at all in this world. I see how it takes power away from people, how it divides people, how it keeps people waiting for somebody else to come and save them. By the way, save with the alphabetic order equals 47. So, while the Luciferians want to advance humanity, they have most people just standing by, passive, doing nothing, believing in nonsense, dismissing truth. You know. With 74 in mind, we're going to talk about this day in history, and I'm going to show you what this number has to do with Charles Manson on this day in history here in just a moment. Something that jumped out this day in history right away is that it was January 25th, 1945, so at the end of the World Wars. If you don't know the history, well, this is the day in history that they put fluoride in a city's water for the first time. And if you don't know the history of how fluoride got in the water, fluoride is a byproduct. Well, one of the ways fluoride is created in this world is a byproduct of metal production. And after the World War, there was all of this fluoride from all of the, production of weapons and tanks and planes and guns. There was just this surplus of fluoride. And a doctor that worked for the aluminum industry, he put forward the medical research why we should introduce fluoride to our water supply to strengthen teeth enamel. And keep in mind, during this same World War, where at the end of it we flew over all the Nazi scientists, the Nazis had been experimenting with putting fluoride in the water to keep people docile. So what's so interesting about this happening on January 25th, 1945 is it was a date with numerology of 45 as well as 90. And look at fluoride in 3 of our 4 base ciphers. Again, since the beginning of this nation and even before that, everything has been done ritualistically by this code. And most of the stuff done is evil. So for what God is all of this being done? I think we answered that with what I showed here in the beginning. Also on this day in history, 1971, Charles Manson and 3 women followers were convicted in Los Angeles of murder and conspiracy in the 1969 slayings of 7 people, including actress Sharon Tate. So, at the time, Charles Manson was 36. Remember, 666, the biblical number, is the 36th triangular number. By the way, Grand Rapids equals 666. It was Grand Rapids, Michigan, where they put in the first doses of fluoride in the water. Anyway, Charles Manson, from his 36th birthday to this, the conviction was 74 days later, and had to do with killing 74. Charles Manson's also 74, and Charles Manson is known to have told his followers that he was Jesus Christ in the flesh. Jesus Christ also 74. By the way, with the alphabetic order, Jesus Christ is 151, which is the 36th prime number. Again, Manson was 36 at the time, 74 days after his birthday. And don't forget, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, they're all 74. Everything about Charles Manson's life until the day he died, everything that's known about him that was put out in the media was done by this code. All of it. Covered that many times over years past. In 1990 on this day, a Boeing 707 ran out of fuel and crashed in Cove Neck, Long Island, New York. 73 of the 158 people aboard were killed. Suspicious numbers: Freemasonry 158, sacrifice 73, just makes you wonder. Cove Neck has the Gematria 33 and 39, where New York's 39 and 33. There's probably a lot more to that. The thing that stood out to me more about this day is on this same day, actress Ava Gardner died in London at age 67. Don't forget London equals 74. Just like holidays 74, just like Independence Day 74. Numbers all over the place. But anyway, this woman died at 67, the blood sacrifice number. And from her birthday to her death was her 33rd day of her age. You know how much they like 33. Her surname Gardner was 67. Dead at 67 was Ava Gardner. Coincidence? Of course not. Also, 25, the word death equals 25. So fitting day to pass prematurely. In 1993, a gunman shot and killed 2 CIA employees outside the agency's headquarters in Langley, Virginia. And again, that was a date with 119 numerology. It was also a date with 138 numerology. Federal's 138. Islamic terrorism, CIA 93, the year of the 93 World Trade Center bombing, and the build-up to September 11th, a date that could be written 9/11 or 11/9. The man who killed the 2 CIA employees is named Miramil Kanzi, equals 58, just like how when you write out 2, it equals 58. Like Freemasonry's 58, like secret society's 58, like Rosicrucian's 58. By the way, to factor into what we were talking about in the beginning, Morning Star, and that same cipher where Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, and secret society equal 58, Morning Star is also 58. All right, so fast forward today, we have the latest on Roger Stone by the numbers. Haven't talked about Roger since November of last year. Maybe before even covering today's, let's just go back and remind what was in the news November 23rd, 2018. Roger Stone associate Jerome Corsi says he is in plea negotiations with Mueller's office. And at the time, from Roger Stone's birthday to the news was 88 days later, the big Trump number. The Republican Party, 88, Trump, 88. That day was a date with 72 numerology. Roger has Gematria 72, President Trump 72, Trump's 72 years old at the time. From Robert Corsi's birthday to the news was 84 days. United States of America, 84. Masonry, 84. Jesuit, 84. Zionism, 84. He was 72 years old as well. And Jerome Corsi has that Gematria 58 standout number. So again and again, all these news stories, the days they hit, ritualistic, synced up with the birthdays, numbers that always point back to Masonry and the people involved. Trump, when this news came, it was on his 163rd day of his age. Make America Great Again, 163. 163 is also the 38th prime, and this came on the day leaving 38 days left in the year. So yeah, there were a few other notes. But now let's talk about what happened today. Julian Assange was synced up with that story. He's synced up with today's story as well. So today's January 25th, 19. It's a date with 45 numerology. 45. And arrest equals 45. We just had, was it Roseanne? No, it wasn't Roseanne. What's the other actress's name? I can't think of it right now. We just had the actress come out and say that Donald Trump's presidency will end with his arrest. And we'll see. It's possible. It's in the numbers, that's for sure, because today's date, 45 numerology, arrest 45. Could it end that way? Today's the 25th. Trump equals 25. And from the last news story, where Roger Stone was front and center, to today is 63 days later. Roger, the alphabetic order is 63. Remember, 2016 is the 63rd triangular number, like how Trump became president-elect in 2016. Notice the name Roger Stone also has gematria of 134, like Make America Great Again. Again, this is why you want to know the base ciphers, because you can see through all the little riddles they encode. Whole lot of 134 stacked around Trump. The hit show House of Cards, the Trump card, House of Cards 134 as well. Ongoing rituals between that show and Trump, and Kevin Spacey and Trump, the two gropers. Here, let me just read what they got today. The indictment and arrest of longtime Donald Trump associate Roger Stone Friday morning in Florida fills in a big missing piece of the emerging picture that special counsel Robert Mueller is painting. The Trump campaign actively sought to communicate and coordinate with WikiLeaks in regard to stolen emails aimed at damaging Hillary Clinton's campaign. According to the indictment, which was unsealed on Friday, a senior Trump campaign official was directed to contact Stone about any additional releases and what other damaging information Organization 1 had regarding the Clinton campaign. Stone thereafter told the Trump campaign about potential future releases of damaging material by Organization 1. Organization 1 is WikiLeaks, the website run by Julian Assange that was responsible for the posting distribution of emails stolen as a result of a hack of the Democratic National Committee's servers and the account of Clinton's campaign chairman John Podesta. And just think about it, the DNC, all of this stuff reminds of Richard Nixon, the ongoing parallels between Trump and Nixon. Richard Nixon resigned in 74. Richard Nixon equals 74. According to the U.S. intelligence community, that hacking was conducted by the Russians for the express purpose of improving Trump's chances and hurting Clinton's chances in the 2016 election. The first release of hacked emails came July 22nd, 2016. Notice that date, 7 plus 22 plus 16, 45. Plus, what else do we know about July 22nd? 22/7, like 227. Ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry equals 227. 227 is the 49th prime, Scottish 49, Washington 49, America 49. Came July 22nd, 2016, just before the opening of the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. That's where, Hillary was. 5 days later, at a news conference, then candidate Donald Trump said this: Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I thought it was the 33,000 emails. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press. On that same day, according to filings from Mueller's office, the Russians began an effort to hack into Clinton's personal email server. It's not clear whether that move was long planned or spurred by Trump's comments. Don't forget, Hillary and email have the same gematria. So again, the date mentioned 45, just like today. WikiLeaks and Stone also have this overlap with 62. Then they talk about Podesta's hacked emails, which happened on October 7th. October 7th, 16 was a date with 33. Numerology, Clinton, federal, October, they're all 33. It was also a date with 53 numerology, John Podesta 53, the day they hacked John Podesta. A perfect date by the numbers, just showing that this entire story is contrived. Podesta also sums to 37. That matters because Julian Assange's birthday is July 3rd, which can be written 3/7. This information was given to WikiLeaks. Podesta is also 37, WikiLeaks 37. Julian Assange's birthday, July 3rd, can be written 3/7 or 7/3. Hillary Clinton, 73. Stone is also 73. We'll get to how all of the base values of the name Stone are relevant to this riddle. The day October 7th that Podesta was hacked, that's the day leaving 85 days left in the year. By the way, Hillary, 85. From Julian Assange's latest birthday, his 47th, to today is 206 days later. Hillary Clinton does have gematria of 206. The name Stone also has a value of 26, numbers that aren't too far off from each other. The thing about July 22nd the first date mentioned where Hillary was hacked, that was 19 days after Julian Assange's birthday. And then October 7th was 19 days before Hillary's birthday. 19, here we are in 2019, where all of this is coming to a head. And the name Stone, also that's Gematria 19. Again, this is why you want to know all 4 base ciphers. Stone is 19, 26, 62, and 73. All those numbers factoring into this riddle. Plus Clinton's birthday is on the 26th. That's a special number. Again, if you haven't read my book, the first chapter is Why Are There 26 Letters in the English Alphabet? So they say the only 2 things that aren't known at this time are the nature and extent of the conversations and communications between the 2 senior Trump campaign officials and Stone, and the nature and extent of Stone's contacts with WikiLeaks. But they know there's something there. Roger Stone, by the way, his full name is Roger Jason Stone Jr. Look at the gematria on that. 223 and 79, just like the synagogue of Satan. 223, the 48th prime. Donald Trump equals 48. Familiar numbers that pop up again and again. Also, from his birthday, Stone, to today, his last birthday was August 27th, turned 66 years old. It's kind of funny because, you know, Revelation's the 66th book of the Bible. It's where it talks about the synagogue of Satan. The synagogue of Satan is referenced in regards to who? The Church of Philadelphia. What city was mentioned in this article? Philadelphia, where the Democratic Convention was. And let me show you something else about Trump's slogan, Make America Great Again. You see the 404? That's how many verses are in Revelation, the final book of the Holy Bible. And don't forget, Holy Bible equals 45. The warnings in Revelation are the trumpets, like the trumpets ticket. So again, the synagogue of Satan, written about in the letter to the Church of Philadelphia from Revelation. 79, by the way, that's the 22nd prime number, 22 chapters in Revelation. And from Stone's birthday, again, August 27th, to today is 151 days later. That's the 36th prime. Roger's also 36. All of this stuff is theater. That's the point to understand. It's all scripted and contrived theater. It's a distraction. You know, the presidency is nothing but a puppet position. Donald Trump's whole role is to polarize the nation. He's a very polarizing figure. I've been talking about this since before he was in the White House. You've never seen my video talking in the garage from February of 2016 where all of a sudden the lights turn on their own accord. That never happened before or after. I said about how Donald Trump, he made the most sense to be the president because we're at a time where they're really trying to polarize us. And look at this picture. Doesn't this picture speak to polarization? Black, white, left, right, liberal, conservative. You know, even before Trump was installed, they were just trying to divide us. They always are. I mean, that's what the media does. Plants seeds of hate, division every single day. So the other big thing today is they reached a deal, and it's a stopgap measure. There's no funding for the wall in this. It's going to last until February 8th, I believe. And here's why they did this today. Today's the 35th day of the shutdown. The entire thing's over. The crisis at the border, as Trump put it. Border equals 35. You might recall in November. You know what? Now I'm realizing that this story was on November 23rd, the same day as the Roger Stone story. That's funny how these stories are moving together. Okay. Interesting. But on November 23rd, you might remember the big focus that day was what was going on at the border, the humanitarian crisis. The caravan had arrived. You know, they had to shoot gas at the border. What I pointed out about that day is the news about the migrant caravan. It broke on October 19th. That's not the actual day the caravan began, but this is the day the news coverage of it began. It supposedly began October 13th, but all news began covering the story October 19th. Chaos at the border. And that's supposedly the day they reached the Mexico border. They left Guatemala, Honduras, October 13th. They got to the Mexico border October 19th. Chaos at the border, chaos on the 19th. But from October 19th to the day that the chaos came to the U.S. border was 35 days later. And we were talking about how border's 35. So now go figure that on the 35th day of the shutdown, that has everything to do with this border dispute, they come to this agreement. And another way you could put it is from the day the shutdown began, December 22nd, to today is 34 days later. If you count the span, it's the 35th day. Caller, if you're calling in for the live stream, call me back at the end. I will be taking calls at the end. I have a feeling that guy's just calling in for something else. But December 22nd to January 25th, it's 34 days later. And December 22nd, 12 plus 22 is 34. Shutdown 34. Today, the day that they reached this agreement, the day leaving 3, 4, 0 days left in the year. Could it all be a coincidence? And as we've been talking about, the riddle with the shutdown has everything to do with the ongoing riddles with the Berlin Wall. Donald Trump announces the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Today's date has 45 numerology. Berlin Wall's 45. It's all about Trump. Today's the 25th. Trump is 25. The emphasize headline, we have reached a deal, has that magic value of 77, the big number in D.C. We have reached a deal, 77, secret society, 77, United States is 77, D.C.'s on the 77th meridian. The magic number on September 11th. If you've never seen my work on September 11th and 77, you better check that out. It's the best way to wake people up to this knowledge. What went down on 9/11 with Flight 77 and the World Trade Centers and more. Big old 77 riddle. Don't forget Donald Trump when he gave that speech on January 8th. He ended it at 9:11 p.m. sharp. The date's September 11th, November 9th. They can be expressed the same way. And again, that day was all about division. For the record, this news coming on a Friday. Friday has Gematria of 63. Don't forget Berlin Wall also has Gematria of 63. 2016, the 63rd triangular number. Trump again announces the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Donald Trump did that advertisement for Serta mattresses, talking to sheep with the numbers 11 and 9 on them. Sheep, asleep, mattresses, Donald Trump supporters. If you've never seen that Serta mattress ad, you got to check it out. Donald Trump's wearing the same suit and tie. The ad's from 2009. He's talking to sheep number 9. He says, looking good number 9. When you add 1 through 9, it equals 45. But just notice today, Friday, Berlin Wall, Roger, as in Roger Stone, all 63. And now we notice even further how the border crisis story was November 23rd. The last day Roger Stone was in the headlines. All of this stuff is orchestrated. That was also 63 days ago. Remember? 63 days ago. What a joke. For the record, from the day Trump took office, January 20th, 2017 to today is 105 weeks on the nose. Masonry's 105, Zionism 105. Just last night, these were the headlines. They made it seem like the White House might declare a national emergency to get the funding for the border wall. And I just noticed that wording, national emergency proclamation, same values, 138 and 159 as Donald Trump. And don't forget that Scottish Rite's also 159, Federal's 138. Michael Cohen. And Trump says this could still happen. If he doesn't get the funding, this is eventually the route he's going to go. Again, today's stopgap measure to reopen the government doesn't provide any funding for the wall. And As a reminder, when Donald Trump had his victory speech, April 16th, 2000, or no, April 26th, 2016, that was before he was president, he called it his victory speech. It was on Melania's birthday. He made two guarantees, just two. One was that he would beat Hillary Clinton, and the second was he would build the wall. So, remains to be seen, but he's already delivered on one of those things. Of course, it's all rigged and scripted, but it just makes you wonder, will the other guarantee be delivered on? So this same day, the Pope has spoken out. The Pope said, builders of walls sow fear and divide. And today's the 25th. We've talked about this before. Pope equals 25, Trump 25. Again, today's date has the 45 numerology. Trump's number 45, IHS, the Jesuit acronym in his service, 45. In case you forget the parallels between Trump and the Pope, the Jesuit order, their name is the Society of Jesus, 187. From Trump's birthday to the Pope's birthday is a span of 187 days. Big number in Washington, D.C. George Washington's 187. Washington, D.C.'s 187. George W. Bush was born on the 187th day of the year. Trump had his GOP convention begin July 18th, 18/7, a span of 187 days from Inauguration Day. Ever so perfect. I noticed that was 6 months and 3 days now. That number's standing out today. In 2016, the 63rd triangular. Berlin Wall, 63. He'd be announced as the president-elect, again, on the anniversary of the fall of the wall. When I made this post was before Trump went to the Vatican and met with the Pope on May 24th, the 144th day of the year. But I did point out in this post, the Jesuit order was 144. Trump's motto, you're fired, 144. And then he ends up meeting with the Pope on the 144th day of the year. See how predictable it all is when you know the code? Catholic equals 71. When you write out 71, it sums to 144. Talmud also has that Gematria 71. A lot of connections between Zionism and the Catholic Church and Washington, D.C. and the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Unholy alliances. Don't forget Donald Trump was in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day right before he traveled to the Vatican. Not an accident. Also, when you write out 44, it sums to 144. Donald Trump is number 45, but he's only the 44th person to be president. That's because Grover Cleveland had a split term. The number 44, when you take its divisors, they sum to 84. Jesuits, 84. Another important number. So, President and Pope also have Gematria overlap. Donald Trump, he went to the Jesuit University, Fordham University in 64, 52 years before becoming president-elect in 2016. What are the odds? So there's some other notes here. Again, a reminder to comb through my blog. Tons of important information on this blog. And on the subject of 187, just some reminders about the Robert Mueller investigation. It's Robert Mueller who, his investigation that's had Roger Stone arrested today. The name Robert Mueller, 187. Investigation, 187. Again, Washington, D.C., 187. George Washington, Society of Jesus, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. It's all 187. The word Abrahamic, for the record, is 187. Again, Abrahamic religions, where a lot of this knowledge comes from. The Torah, where a lot of this knowledge is encoded, is 187 chapters. Biblical. Donald Trump being paralleled to Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon has the Gematria of 187 as well as 74, like the year he resigned. So, Robert Mueller is the head of the Russia investigation with an August 7th birthday, 87, Russia 87. It's not hard to see when you know the Gematria that this is all theater. Can't emphasize it enough. Another top story today is how the shutdown has the airport delays going on. It's a Friday. People are known for calling out sick Friday. Employees have been working for over a month without pay. Airport delays could ripple across the U.S. This comes today, January 25th. Notice airport equals 97. 97 is the 25th prime number, and delays 25. So what a day to write about, the delays at the airport. And if you're calling in for the live stream, I will take your calls at the end. We'll be there soon enough. Tell you what, you guys, this Gematria hotline, I spend a lot of time answering people's phone calls all day. I like talking to people, but it's just like, man, I think I have signed myself up for too much. Anyhow, this whole 97-25 thing, it got me staring at this bottom article, which was related to the Super Bowl, a government shutdown on the world's busiest airport. That's in reference to Atlanta, where the Super Bowl is about to be hosted. What could go wrong? We talked about this days ago, but don't forget it was the Atlanta Falcons that were in the Super Bowl to conclude the 97th NFL season. That was the same year they moved the touchback to 25 yards. That Super Bowl was on February 5th, 2/5. The AFC won its 25th Super Bowl. Tom Brady became 5-2 in Super Bowls after the 25-point comeback against the Falcons. Falcons equals 25. The story and these numbers just had me thinking about, what could go wrong? What do they got planned for us at the Atlanta airport? Years ago, CNN wrote an article about how if there's ever another 9/11 to take place out of an airport, it'll be Atlanta's because how busy it is. That article, I think, was written in 2013 or 14. But I'm sure they got something planned for that airport one of these days. So. We got an update in the death of Kevin Barnett. Kevin Barnett was the dead comedian earlier this week. They're saying his official date of death is January 22nd. He died in Tijuana, and they put out a cause of death. So he's dead on the 22nd in Tijuana, right? Tijuana, 22. When you write out 22, it sums to 42. He died January 22nd, 19, a date with 42 numerology. He was a black man. We know how they code 42 all over black history. Last year on Jackie Robinson's birthday, we had the death of 3 black celebrities, all of which had names summing to 42. One of them was Oscar Gamble, who died 42 days after his own birthday on Jackie Robinson, number 42's birthday. Birthday equals 42, Jackie 42, Oscar Gamble 42. He was a baseball player like Jackie, known for rocking an afro. Afro equals 68. He was dead at 68. Jackie Robinson's birthday is coming up. It's January 31st. We'll see if they do anything like that this year. Last year was 2018. Race equals 18, so maybe we won't see a riddle like that this year. But again, see a lot of black people die prematurely in connection to the 42. Another recurring pattern. January 22nd, 2019, the date of his death was also a date with 62 numerology, sacrifice 62. But look at this. The corresponding autopsy was carried out, which determined that the cause of death was non-traumatic hemorrhage caused by pancreatitis. So non-traumatic hemorrhage. Look at the value. 122, dead on 1/22, January 22nd. Again and again, we see this. These deaths that really cannot be explained. A healthy man, he just put up a tweet. He's in Mexico. He's having a good time. And then all of a sudden, he's just dead. And, the comedian who he's connected to is a guy that we're seeing in more and more roles in Hollywood. Lil Rel. So they said he was January 22nd at 5:50 a.m., a 32-year-old male body was received, identified as Kevin Michael Barnett. And 5:50, that reminds me of 55, Tijuana, Mexico, 55. Tijuana, Mexico is also 206. Sacrifice has the Gematria 55 and 206 as well. point out his last Instagram post was January 19th. So keep in mind this was one day after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And the day this news broke, they did say that his entertainment company confirmed his death January 22nd, but they didn't say if that was the day he really died. That day had a life lesson number of 35, and notice how they emphasized Rel, 35. And Lil Rel, again, the entertainer that's improving his stardom in the world. So the biography website had his death as January 21st, which was the day that was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. They're now saying it's the 22nd. Lil Rel's 39 years old, like how MLK was killed at 39. So. Anyhow, this is what we're used to seeing. Cause of death syncing up with the date of death. Very repetitive pattern, covered well in my book, Letters and Numbers, and the longest chapter in it called Murder by Numbers. If you go to the Wikipedia page, Deaths in 2019, what I find real suspicious is January 24th has a very short list of deaths compared to every other single day in the month. And that's not normal, because this is the date with the 44 and 64 numerology, and like clockwork, every month there's a number of deaths. And I've been really calling attention to this, and every month we're talking about it. And there were deaths by the numbers yesterday. We covered them. But I find it strange how short the list is for that date this month. And I just wonder if some information is being withheld because of this research. But one of those deaths that was listed was a sports writer. And again, he died on this date with 44 numerology. His first name, Hugh, had that Gematria 44. It was also a date with 64 numerology. Hugh is also 64. Kill is 44 and 64. That same way. And what I said about January 24th, in light of upcoming Super Bowl 53, is the date can be written 24/1, like 241, the 53rd prime number. McIlvaney equals 53. That's the surname of this writer. So, fitting day for this man to be 86th. And he was an older man. He was 84 years old. Remember, the divisors of 44 sum to 84. Another recurring pattern. So nobody will question this man's death. 84 years old. Most people will just accept that it's old age. But I absolutely will. He had the numbers that I was looking for. And they might still end up releasing, more deaths from that date today, tomorrow, the weekend. So I'm going to keep watching and seeing what emerges on January 24th, 2019. Speaking of 84, the big Jesuit number, there was the death of a member of the Catholic Church, someone who was appointed to their position by Pope Francis, the first publicly Jesuit pope. He was 89 years old, this man. 89 is the 24th prime. Again, it was a date with 44 numerology. The divisors of 44, sum to 84, Jesuit 84. Out of the few deaths reported yesterday, 2 of them were 89-year-olds. And again, 89, the 24th prime, dead on the 24th. So, find that curious. Put out a short video on this today. The rapper XXXTentacion, who had a very numerology-oriented death. Today, we get a story about how his mom wants his car back, the car that he was supposedly killed in. And notice his car was a BMW. BMW stands for Bavarian Motor Works. And look how perfect this is. From his date of death to today is 221 days later, like how the Bavarian Illuminati equals 221, Bavarian Motor Works. Today, January 25th, can be written 25/1, like 251, Bavarian Motor Works, 251. What a perfect day. It's the car from the murder scene. as it's put in the headline. Today's date, January 25th, can be written 1/25, murder scene, 125. How perfect. How perfect. Too perfect. So no doubt, more news by the numbers. And I'm really questioning if that rapper's even dead, you know. Talk about a guy that's really benefited from his death if he's still around. His songs are now popular on the radio. You know, you got kids wearing his T-shirt. I don't think anybody even knew who he was before he died. Well, I'm sure some people did, but not nearly as many as they do now. Again, death sells. Last night, somebody pointed out there was a shooting in Georgia, Rockmart, Georgia. Just makes you wonder. Yesterday had the 44 date numerology, Georgia shooting, gunfire. They're all 44. This man right here who's doing great work, he caught that Rockmart, Georgia equals 683 in the English extended cipher. That's the 124th prime number, and the shooting was on 1/24. Great work. 4 dead, 2 others injured. You see anything in that number? 42, Freemason. Who controls the police? Polk County. Also last night, put out a quick video on this. The breaking news, a missing 3-year-old found alive. His T-shirt said ladies man. His last name was Hathaway. He was 3. This came out of Craven County, CC 33, Hathaway 33, ladies man 33. The story comes from the FBI, the federal police, masonry, secrecy, order, police, federal, all in that same cipher. Some to 33. And again, the boy's 3. So the date was 64 numerology, Craven County 64. The boy's name was Casey. Casey 53, Craven County 53, January 24th, 24/1, 241, the 53rd prime. Casey Lynn Hathaway, also that Gematria 205, like all seeing eye. And again, nonstop stories, things to distract us, things to make us forget about our own reality. Also last night, put out a quick video on this. Big development in artificial intelligence. Google has a company that they bought called DeepMind. They're working on this artificial intelligence called AlphaStar. They pointed out how this artificial intelligence is now beating professional gamers at StarCraft. And if you've never heard of StarCraft before, it's one of the biggest video games in the world that is played by professional gamers. And there's big money in StarCraft tournaments. So AI beating these pros is a big deal. And, you know, it's essentially like if all of a sudden there was a story about artificial intelligent robots were on the basketball court, you know, beating the, the professional star athletes or football players or baseball players or what have you. Anyhow, this story came on this date with 44 numerology. AI is 44. Technology equals 124. The story is from January 24th. The name of the company, this technology company, DeepMind. Notice how technology and DeepMind overlap. Companies out of the UK, United Kingdom, technology, DeepMind, all 146. Couldn't help but notice that United Kingdom and StarCraft had the overlap too. And the name of the AI, it has a lot of familiar numbers. Numbers that connect to words like Freemason, conspiracy, England, etc. This was also the day in history that Macintosh was released by Apple. And just in case you missed the video last night, what I reminded about Apple is the Macintosh was released on a date with 47 numerology. Beast equals 47. And Apple priced their first consumer computer at $666, the number of the beast. And to this day, I continue to kick myself because I remember the day that I logged on, and every day I take screenshots. You know what I do. I take screenshots. I decode headlines. I logged on. I was about to start doing my research. CNN had up this headline about how technology is the beast. And it was a quote from, some guru in the world of technology. and I was starting to do my drag across the screen to screen capture. And as I did that, the CNN page refreshed and it was gone. It was a new headline. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost that. But I'm sure someday another headline will emerge if there's not already one out there somewhere. But ever since seeing that, there's just been so many things like this. And it's always made me think of Apple pricing their first consumer computer at $666. If only people knew Gematria, then they'd get why. But yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, technology, it does seem to be the beast. And don't forget, Apple's logo is an apple with a bite out of it, reminding of the forbidden fruit from Genesis. Genesis also has that Gematria 666. In Genesis 6:6, God regrets making humanity. Mankind equals 66, man made on the sixth day. Revelation 13:18 says the number of the beast is the number of a man. So, more chaos headlines. Yesterday we covered how the fallout happened between Trump and Maduro by the numbers. And then they put out this story, how Venezuela spiraled downward into chaos. And that's going to be the word all year. We've already seen a ton of it. Chaos is 19, like 2019. In this case, chaos is also 89, the 24th prime, and this story came on the 24th. Also yesterday, the U.S. ordered non-emergency personnel out of Venezuela, so you just got to wonder, is this all being contrived as part of the planned collapsing of the economy, which I'm sure is still coming? Venezuela, another nation that we get good amount of oil from. Oil's the lifeblood of our economy. So, we're tinkering with China, our biggest trade partner, Iran, Venezuela. These are all nations that we rely on for our economy. So you got to ask, why do all these things at once? What's the point of this? What's the point of saying, oh, we don't recognize you as the president anymore. We recognize your opposition. I mean, how many things are you trying? You know what I mean? If you got a problem, why go instigate other problems? All these things going on already, government shutdown, trade war, ongoing investigations, yada, yada, yada. Again, Donald Trump, House of Cards, a reference to something that's about to collapse. Just in case you missed yesterday's podcast, when Trump went after Maduro, it was 223 days after his birthday, number that we've covered well. It was also his 224th day of his age. Trump and Nicolas Maduro Moros, his full name is 224. So what a day to break relations so heavily on that day. And again, the divisors of 84 summed to 224, United States of America 84, Masonry 84, Zionism 84, Jesuit 84. But those are the things that I wanted to cover today. If anybody wants to call in, the number is 509-731-0567. Again, it's 509-731-0567. Let me take a peek at the chat here. The Gematria Pioneer, you changed your name. Here, I got to give you a wrench. All right, let me scan through the chat. I'm guessing that once we change the show time to evening time, we'll start having more callers. Appreciate those of you who are here every day. StarCraft 2 is 124, huh? Great catch. That's what Chigozie's for. Let me try that out. I didn't think to type that in. Oh, it's because I forgot the F. There it is. What's going on, Nebraska?
What's going on, Zach? I didn't have much to say. I just was watching Scarface a couple days ago, and I know you remember the part where Tony and his buddy are in Freedom Land their last day, and Tony has to assassinate Rebecca.
I forget. I haven't seen it in so long, but I'm taking your word for it.
Yeah, when you have to assassinate Rebecca, I just thought it was funny because right before they go to that scene, they showed the date, and the date is August 11th. You know, they're in Freedom Town. It's a whole bunch of chaos and stuff. I was like, man, that is crazy. It's even on Scarface. This movie came out like in '82.
Scarface is full of it. It's 3:03 on the clock when he kills his boss, and then he's sitting in the chair with the TM. TM's 33. So.
Yeah, that's crazy though. But that August 11th, man, was just seeing so many connections to it. It's crazy. That's all I had though. Like,
great observation. August 11th, death date. Appreciate it, friend.
all right.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, movies are just full of it. I mean, and they have been for decades. When you're aware of this knowledge and you start to see the dates and numbers they put up on the screen, I mean, you're like, oh, wow. So many people, they don't want to invest in this knowledge because they don't get it. They don't see why they do this. But it's like, that's not the reason you need to look at it this way. You need to look at it because the people who are ruling over you, they do things this way. And then you can start to see what they're encoding. Takes intelligence, though. So... all right, you guys. Oh, we got another caller. Let's take it. I'm supposed to go hang out with Token Tim. So maybe we'll get a Token Tim episode today. What's going on, caller?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see my text message?
Which one?
Dude, they're on TV talking about the Rams and the Saints game. You know that hit?
Uh-huh.
They just fined the player $26,000 and some change, but they're on TV talking about, was $26,000 worth the hit, worth the Super Bowl? Just check that out. It was funny. I just had to call you. I'm watching the stream though.
Okay, you know what's up with the magic number 26, right?
Yeah, I know, but it was just like funny. Like, it was 26 worth it.
Awesome, man.
$26,000 worth the Super Bowl.
I see your text now. Great catch, dude. I appreciate that.
All right, I'm at work.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, have a good one. Well, we know what's up with 26. The Rams' next playoff loss will be number 26. Chigozie says Blizzard equals 124, and Blizzard's the company that makes StarCraft 2. Huh. Awesome work, man. So... all right. Hey, Miss Mildred. You don't got to be a fly on the wall. If we do anything, I'll upload it anyway. But hey, there's Jeremy. All right, you guys. Well, if nobody else wants to call in, we can wrap it up here for today. Again, next week, I'll make a video here on the Patreon page so people are reminded. But next week, we're starting at the new time, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. I'm sorry if that's too late for you. I think for a lot of people, it'll work out better. But I just need the daytime so I can just write for a number of hours here. What's up? I think it's my man who I forgot to go back to again this week on the radio show. How are you?
Hello?
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Zach? This is Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm sorry. I forgot to come back to you again on the radio show this week.
I was fine. I had to go anyways. I had to do some stuff around the house. Man, I just want to tell you about some astrology with 8/11.
Please.
All right, so on 9/11, the moon passed through what's known as the Silver Gate, which is the intersection of the ecliptic and the galactic planes. But on 8/11, the evening before, actually 8/10, it'll be 8/11 in Israel. The moon's going to be passing through the Golden Gate.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. And on 9/11, the Saturn was... So I get this right. Yeah, Saturn was about 15 degrees to the right, Jupiter about 15 degrees to the left. On 8/11, Saturn's going to be about
I think 18 degrees to the left, Jupiter about 18 degrees to the right. So it's going to be a mirror astrologically of 9/11.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the other crazy thing is that the moon is going to be doing the same thing on 8/11 or the night before as what it was doing the night before the Golden Gate Bridge opened.
Huh. That's amazing.
And it'll be the 1099th, that's right, 1099th lunar sidereal month since it opened. And the official song for the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge is "There's a Silver Moon on the Golden Gate."
Huh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's all I wanted to get out there. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great information. Love the astrology work you do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, have a good one. Thanks again. Well, that was pretty mind-blowing. I think I'm going to have to, when this is over, clip that and just make a short little video with that information. All right, you guys, we can wrap it up for here. Have a great weekend. I'm sure you'll hear from me before the end of the weekend. Yeah, you'll hear from me before the end of the weekend, that's for sure. So I better go visit with Tim, though. I said I'd head up his way after 2 p.m. He wanted to hang out earlier, but I told him I couldn't. He doesn't realize how busy my schedule is. So maybe come back with a Token with Tim episode. And for all of you guys who've been missing those, once it warms up, we'll do a lot more. Because, I mean, it's been pretty cold outside, so not the best hiking weather. But today seems okay, so see what happens. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. Until next time.